Brenton, I'm dying.
Oh, Nathan.
Oh,
No,
Brenton.
Nathan, no.
Oh, Brenton, I want you to love me forever, Brenton.
You shall love me forever, because I want you to haunt me. Haunt your murderer. Haunt me to the end of my days.
What?
Now dig on this.
We're here. Welcome, everyone. Take a seat at the table. Welcome.
Welcome to Classic Movie Banter.
Wait.
That podcast
Hey-o.
where I, that guy Brenton, and that guy over on the other side of the table, Nathan,
He's here.
we talk about our love life and how I'm going to haunt him for the rest of his life. Actually,
So
no.
much.
Well, wait, or was it the other way around? I can't remember.
Oh,
But
no.
here on this show, we talk about movies that are 20 years or older. 20 years.
Yes.
And we tell you guys whether those films are still worth watching today or whether they're worth taking a horse, taking the DVD, riding the horse with the DVD to the top of some moors and then like fucking tossing it off the top.
Like a frisbee, just
Like a frisbee.
Be gone,
literally
bad
like a
movie.
frisbee. Like in the middle of a storm and then perishing in the process.
Brenton, we're in a season of love. It's the bloody week of Valentine's Day. How you feeling, buddy?
I'm depressed as all fuck.
Oh, I'm so sorry, mate. We're here in our 90s, and we're here to talk about the Valentine's Day film to end all Valentine's Day films, apparently, allegedly.
wait. We're talking about Valentine's Day? You know that movie with like all of those random stars and
Oh,
all those
jeez.
horrible storylines?
Have you seen that
Nathan,
film?
no. Oh, I've seen parts of that
It's
film.
no
and
good. I remember at the
I-
time everyone was getting hyped because it's Taylor Swift dating Taylor Lautner, and it's like Taylor on Taylor.
Oh gosh.
I know.
Taylor, dude, the sentence Taylor on Taylor should never be uttered. Like that just sounds fucking dirty.
I'm so sorry, listeners. I'll never repeat it again.
No, I just remember. I remember more of the New Year's Eve one, the one that came
That
out.
one's
after
more
that, and it was-
horrendous, isn't it?
I remember more from that one, but they're both terrible.
They're so
and
bad.
you said the Valentine's Day film to end all Valentine's
I
Day
know.
films.
I think if we've learned anything from Taylor Swift, it's that she should never act in movies.
if Cats taught us anything,
Anything. Taylor
It's that-
Swift, get out of here.
not even CGI. Not even CGI can fix a Taylor Swift performance. Anyway,
Jeez. But no, back to the old films. We had a couple candidates we could have chosen this week, but Wuthering Heights, from 1939, for some reason, is hailed as one of the most romantic and old romantic films ever made. So we're here to bloody talk about it, aren't we, Brenton?
let's talk about Wuthering Heights, which was distributed in 1939, and it was directed. Fuck, I'm going to say that again. Cut that out, please, Nathan.
Maybe.
It was directed by William Wagler.
Oh, Jesus, that's a director's name, isn't it? William Wagner.
I'm sure it's William Wagler. Let me just double
That'd
check.
be so funny. He's just walking around on set. I'm William
No.
Wagner. I'm a film director.
Nathan, you'll never believe it, but I've made an error.
Brenton
I've
made a
serious
mistake,
error.
listeners, and I'm so glad this is a recorded medium.
And-
so
and-
we have evidence.
So I said that the director's name was William Wagler, but it turns out I can't read my own handwriting
Oh.
because his name is actually William Wyler. So,
Oh, well.
which
G'day,
is an
Will.
infinite. Yeah, g'day, Will. Hope you're going well, mate.
He's probably dead.
He's probably 6 feet under.
Happy Valentine's Day.
And we're just butchering. Well, I'm just butchering his name,
Uh.
but I feel like Wyler is a more respectable name than Wagler. So,
Yes.
and not to discredit any of the Waglers amongst our listeners. Hey, look, if your name is Wagler, please tweet at us because I'd love to have a chat.
Yeah, do you bloody wag your tail every day? Brenton, we're steering off course. Could you please pitch me this movie?
That was a good one, Nathan. Anyway,
Thank you. Can you pitch me the movie?
Wuthering Heights. The only way I can really picture this film is to kind of, step out like the basics of the plot.
Okay.
You know what I mean?
Yes.
So we're talking about like this old romantic film. So obviously we're talking about a film that's in black and white.
Oh, yes.
We're talking about a film that has interesting orchestration featuring many stringed instrument.
Oh, if you want strings, it's all the strings.
Giving us lovely legato melodies as we follow this story that covers decades, Nathan.
Oh.
So we start off.
Is it a real boyhood scenario?
We not quite. We start off in a blizzard, Nathan. We start off and there's a huge blizzard, and we meet our lone traveler that is heading through this blizzard and needs shelter from the awful weather. So he comes across this mansion, this property.
Ooh.
He sees this large house and there's lights on inside, so he heads in.
Ooh, is it Downton Abbey?
No, because it's weird as fuck inside.
So it is Downton Abbey.
No one really acknowledges him.
So it's like you at a party, right?
Yeah. No, I can relate. He walks in. There's a dog barking at him. Everyone there seems a bit lifeless. The owner seems a bit like he hasn't got all these screws in. He seems a bit nutty.
Okay.
Anyway, he asks for a room, and so they decide to give it to him after much drama, I guess. And so he heads into his room, and he has this experience, this otherworldly experience where he sees a woman out in the blizzard, and he's calling someone. Ooh. And the owner of the property immediately runs out into the blizzard to potentially save this woman, we can presume. And the house, the maid, I guess, of this estate, says, yes, well, there's pretty fucked up things happened here.
Just like smoking a dart, like I've seen some shit. Like
yeah, pretty much. She's like, I'm scarred for life, and you're like, okay. And then we do a time warp. Let's do the time warp again. We go back in time, and we learn the origins of I guess that starting scene, and it all centers around this relationship between a gypsy boy and
every time someone sees Laurence Olivier, they're just like, you gypsy boy.
And so we follow their journey from or their relationship from children all the way up until their inevitable deaths.
Jesus.
And that's Wuthering Heights.
Wow, what a pitch, Brenton. It sounds like you've literally read like the synopsis on the back of the book that this is based on.
Nathan, I was literally reading it verbatim.
Wow, that's amazing. Emily Bronte, she was really on something when she wrote this, wasn't she?
Oh, Nathan.
Brenton.
Not my best pitch, I'd say, but hopefully the listeners get the idea if they haven't seen the film. We're following a relationship, you know what I mean?
Did you know anything about the book going in? Or like, did you know anything about this?
I had no idea. I had no idea what it was about.
I didn't as well. I was like,
Nathan, you just let out a sigh of, and I don't think it was exultation. I think it was more, I think it was more pain, grief. I'm not sure. Is it because you were saddened by the ending of this film? What's going on in your mind, Nathan?
This was a difficult watch, Brenton. This movie's a difficult watch. Oh, why did we do this movie? It's so boring and it's so cliche, and it's not even a movie. It's just like someone got like a string orchestra and told them to play it like 110% for like 2 fucking hours. And then, like, they decided to put some, like, pantomime actors and then act out the most, like, cliche love story they could have acted to the violins.
What a description, Nathan. But please elaborate.
It's just... Everyone in this film, Brenton, is batshit crazy. Like, so this movie, following on from Brenton's pitch, you're just following this couple throughout their lives, literally their entire lives, just, like, being in love, but she's from a different class society, and maybe there's themes of classism and city versus country, and maybe the landscape's changing and it's a metaphor for their love. And I'm like, ugh. It's just this feels like the movie, Brenton, okay, when you watch a movie and the characters in that film are watching an old romantic film on their TV, this is the movie that plays, I feel, where it's just like the most melodramatic, like, oh, I can't love you, but I must, but I can't. Oh, we must die together or love together. It's literally just that for like 2 fucking hours.
What a take on this supposed classic.
I know, and I didn't want to hate it, Brenton, and I don't hate it.
Well, I don't think we ever go into a film wanting to hate it, you know what I mean?
Maybe Cats, but
Maybe Cats, but...
That's another story.
Nathan, for me, I think this film expresses themes of, like you said, there's some classism going on. I like this theme that's kind of in it of like the woman's place in society at this time and like survival.
Yeah, the themes are there. They're there.
And a person's livelihood. Like I kind of like what this movie's about. To be honest, I like the plot as well. I like the story. I like where it ends up. I like where we go. On a technical note, I think the film looks really good.
Yeah, I for 1939, yeah, it looks all right.
I think it looks really good, and I like. There's some camera movement in there as well. There's some panning.
Yeah, wait a minute.
We get some panning in there. I was like, hey man, this isn't just a static shot. The camera is moving, people. It is going from left to right and right to left, and nothing else.
Yeah, Jesus, that's all it is.
But I do appreciate it, and it kind of shocked me when it moved. I was like, oh, it's moving. I was like, oh, cool.
The dead horse jumps to life. Like, "Oy."
I guess what I'm saying is I like how mobile I guess the camera is for the time. There's some interesting vistas I think in this film. I like all the production elements. And then getting back to what you said and about the actual film and how I walked away from it, I kind of liked it.
Oh, Brenton. Why?
I kind of liked it. And I'll tell you why.
Good. Good. Tell me why.
Whilst I acknowledge everything you just said as a modern audience, like going into Wuthering Heights from 1939.
As a cool, hip, modern audience of the 2020s with our bloody AR glasses.
I still enjoyed this film. I think that it has something to say. I think
it probably does have something to say, Brenton. I'll give it that. But I just don't think I like what it's saying, frankly.
I kind of like that it's this film from a bygone era. So I can appreciate it on that level. I wouldn't say I wasn't bored during this film.
Were you invested? Did you actually like were you hooked by this couple as we followed them?
I was very intrigued by like this situation. No, I was because as we'll talk later, I think these two characters are just very interesting. I think that like they're
deeply flawed. I'll give them that. Like
they are.
Also, the reasons that they have like complexities in their relationships outside of the obviously classism barrier is just so contrived. Like they have like such like basic communication failures between them, and you're just like, if you all paused for 2 seconds and just spoke openly, all of your shit would be solved. And I guess it's a modern perspective because obviously these days we can. But back then they had standards. Like they're like, oh, you simply can't say this to a woman. Like all that kind of stuff.
What I was going to say to that is, I think like one of the themes of this film is like looking at it as like how the time and the situation affects this relationship, and it's not just a simple conversation. There's so much more to it than that because of where this is set in the time. And I kind of like that. It kind of goes to that place of like a person's place in this time, a person's livelihood.
Also, for our listeners that don't know, this is set in Victorian England, just to give you a heads up.
Yeah. And it's
in the country, like way out in the
moors. In the moors, Nathan.
Jesus. As someone who's been to England, this is a very dramatic landscape that they live at. You know, they're in like an open farm, but then like a short run away, they're on the side of a fucking cliff. You know what I mean?
I will say it did look like the United States. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It looked like
also
the
very
West.
soundstagey at points as well.
As in like the outdoor scenes.
Some of them. There were some locations you're like, are we watching 10 Commandments again? Like, you know what I mean? Like, which doesn't like take away that much from the movie, but I'm like, okay. It all just feels too Shakespearean. You know what I mean?
I get that. What I was going to say is as well is like whilst the performances are very Shakespearean, they're very old, I guess like classical performances is what I'd say.
So classical. And you know what? It's not even just Lawrence, like the whole fucking cast. Even the kids, even when you see them as kids, for some reason they speak as though they're doing Elizabethan. Like,
though I will say it has a decent child performance by young Lawrence.
Obviously not young Lawrence himself, but like a kid.
But a kid that's playing that the younger version of that character, I liked that performance. Like, yes, it's a child performance. Yes, it's got issues, but like overall, I thought that kid was capturing something that was kind of unique and characterful, I guess. But going back to the older actors and them being classical, whilst you can acknowledge that, it's still, and whilst like I think for a modern audience, you won't relate to that as much. I guess I could really appreciate that. I could still see what they were going for and see like the characterful traits these people were portraying. Yeah. And how I was just very interested in these characters and it was cool to see what how circumstance had made these people into what they became, if that made sense. If that makes sense.
Yeah. I do get that. That's interesting. That is interesting how they respond to like, you know, their farm, that kind of stuff. But the way that they deliver it, I just have such issues with the writing, Brenton, which is so weird because this is based on such an iconic novel.
It's so poetic. It is so poetic and lyrical and jargony, and there's lots of images in there that they're referring to.
It's so fucking cheesy. We're in a cheese factory, Brenton. Like every fucking line, it's like
there's some camembert, there's some fucking blue.
It's just, it's so cheesy, like with everything that they're saying and that kind of stuff. And like, bless Laurence Olivier, because I've never seen a film with him before. This is my first Laurence Olivier film.
Really?
Yeah. And he's like one of the greatest actors ever. So you think I'd be running over him, just be like, woo! Yeah, Lawrence. But he's just...
What's interesting about Lawrence is, just to jump in for 2 seconds.
Mate, you bloody jump.
I will jump. Is that this is just a fun fact that during the filming of this, Lawrence actually found himself becoming increasingly annoyed with William Wyler, the director, not Wagler. And so apparently William Wyler had a kind of exhausting style of filmmaking in the sense that like he'd just do a lot of takes. And so after like another take, apparently he lost his shit, Laurence Olivier, and said, for God's sake, I did it sitting down, I did it with a smile, I did it with a smirk, I did it scratching my ear, I did it with my back to the camera. How do you want me to do it? And then Wyler responded with, I want it better, which is just like,
It was like, fuck you. It's like, I'm the director.
But what's interesting about this is that, like, I think Sir Laurence Olivier has said multiple times in interviews afterwards that that those multiple takes really helped him learn to succeed as a film actor.
Oh.
Because, like, I don't know whether...
So the moral of the story is slap your actors. Give him some tough love.
I think, like, coming from the stage, like, he probably... Obviously, it's so different. And in 1937 or 8 or whenever this was filmed, it probably didn't have a lot of experience on a film set. And films probably... I don't know whether they may have... I don't know. This is interesting. How much longer do you think films would have taken to make back in the day as opposed to now?
Probably the same, I want to say. Do you know the answer?
I don't. Oh. I don't. Like, that just occurred to me because if they're doing
the process hasn't changed in like 80 years. Like post production's probably gone longer because of the effects, but like.
But what I mean is that like if you're doing multiple takes on old equipment, I'd imagine it'd take longer to set the shot, to reset the shot, especially in something like this with like a lot of action a lot of the time. And by action, I don't mean literal like action scenes. I mean like there's a lot going on in these frames because they're filling the frames with parties, with animals. You know, like there's a lot going on, and so like.
But also, there would have been less takes and less cuts simply because of the nature of editing.
Yeah, but this guy's losing his shit because there's multiple takes. That's why I'm like, holy shit, man! Like, how long did it take to film this film?
I do love it as well with Lawrence as well because he also hated his co-lead. Like he hated the.
Oh really?
Yeah. So Lawrence is just picking fights with everyone. Like apparently they detested each other. Witnesses on set said that Olivier was accidentally spitting on her during some scenes.
Oh, so he was enunciating and he was using his consonants.
I'm Laurence Olivier and I spit.
I love you, dear.
and she shouted at him, "Can you stop spitting on me?" And he said back to him, "What's a little spit for Christ's sake between actors?" Oh, Lawrence.
Well, Lawrence was actually nominated for an Academy Award for this film.
Of course he fucking was.
But he wasn't the only actor to be nominated.
Was it the old woman?
No. There was a Best Supporting Actress nomination given to Geraldine Fitzgerald, who played the other woman.
Oh, yeah.
In the triangle.
Yeah. That's right.
Who I thought gives a great performance. I thought she was great.
She was good. Also, in my opinion, probably better than his first choice.
Well, my thing with her is that I was really invested in that character as well, and I was interested to see where it went. And the biggest sin, I guess, of the film's plot, but my biggest kind of criticism was that I don't like where we went with her. I don't like that she didn't really get a full arc.
She really gets the short straw by the end. It's like, geez, all right. And it's so weird because I don't know why everyone is vying for the main girl in this movie. Like, she's not rich and like she's not that exciting in her personality. Like I don't know, she's pretty, but like there's a lot of pretty girls in this movie. It's like, why is everyone going for her?
Well, because I don't know if that anyone's going for her, but I think specifically in Lawrence's case,
she's like a surrogate sister to him because they grow up together. It's weird.
You see them when they're kids, but I think there's an optimism like to the two of them of like a life that's better. It's like it's kind of like that American dream kind of like idea. You know what I mean? That like if only like they could. It's like Of Mice and Men, man. If only they could just get away and get their piece of land and get their castle or whatever, life would be good. But life doesn't go that way, you know what I mean?
No, it really doesn't. Especially when you look like a fucking vampire, Mr. Laurence Olivier. I tell you what. Jesus, I was waiting for him to bite her this movie. Like,
Oh, that's another thing I just want to talk about quickly, and I don't really want to spoil. This isn't really a spoiler, but like we talk a lot about gypsies, you know, in this, and how everyone refers to him as a scumbag gypsy throughout the film. And there's this air of like, is he manipulating? Like they're like, is he manipulating you? And clearly, as a modern audience, you're going, oh yeah, like that's just bullshit. That's just like being a racist asshole. But then I thought at a point, I was like, oh wait, is this actually like? Is this like actually the thought process is that like maybe because there was a point and I was like, oh wait, am I like reading this as a modern audience and being like they're treating him like shit, which is the point, don't get me wrong, and that he retaliates to that. But is it actually saying that he is a gypsy and he might have gypsy magic? You know what I mean?
Jesus, yeah, this film could be quite racist.
There was a point where I was like, hang on a second, like, is it actually saying that? And then I thought, no, surely not.
I haven't read the book. I don't think he is, but maybe he is a gypsy. Like, I don't know.
But there was a point where I questioned the film's stance on it. You know what I mean? Because at first I was like, that's the characters, that's the time, that's what it is. And then I was like, oh wait.
But it's not really saying anything about, you know, like a nomad living in, you know, like a different culture. Like, it doesn't really say that much about it. Also because of what happens, I have issues with the plot. We'll get into spoilers. Where, like, that character arc is just ignored because of what happens to him. So, like, I don't know. My main gripes with this film, Brenton, is just that all these characters, all they fucking do the whole movie is just shout at each other that they don't love each other, or they just shout lines of exposition. It's like, you were never there for me because of the time that this happened, and now I am this, and now you're that, and it's... You know what I mean? Like, it has the same problems as Romeo and Juliet, because the same gripes I have with that story as well is that, like, it's all about overhearing people and then not understanding what they heard when they overheard someone. You know what I mean?
But couldn't you say that happens a lot in real life relationships?
Not where you're fucking hiding behind a curtain like an old play and like, oh,
no, but
you know what I mean? Like, miscommunication, yes, but not to the degree it is in this movie. This is like...
But the idea is still the same, you know what I mean? Like, we don't all hide behind curtains nowadays, mainly because
because it's weird.
People don't have tapestries. Like,
no.
that's
I mean, I'd speak for yourself, Brenton. I do it daily, but...
but you get my point, is that, like, the same idea is still present. Like, it's still relevant to us. Like using the Romeo and Juliet example, like, a story like that still exists today. It's just the framework around it might be slightly different because of technology, because of the time, but it could still happen. It's still plausible. You know what I mean?
It could still happen, but, like, honestly, if they were real adults, they would just overhear a thing, and he'd go up to her and say, "Hey, I overheard this. Are you actually thinking this? Like, can we talk about this?" But all that happens that he overhears and just lets it happen, and he's like, "Oh, woe is me. I should now monologue to be or not to be." You know what I mean?
To be fair, there's a scene in there where he does overhear something, which I think is what you're referring to, which we can talk about properly later, that he hears something and it's pretty extreme, is what I'd say.
It is pretty extreme. Ugh. Can we rate this, Brenton? I want to dig into this. It might
warrant an extreme response. Yeah, let's rate it.
You're fond of me lobster, ain't you?
The more I've spoken about this, because I was actually unsure going into this whether I was going to give it a thumbs up or thumbs down.
On the fence, as it were. Like Laurence Olivier's choice in Women.
But this has actually changed my mind. I kind of like this movie and I want to give it a thumbs up and I want to give it its due.
I've been pushing you in the other direction and you're like, nay.
Nay.
Jesus Christ. Did you like the horse in this movie?
Yeah, that's what I was referring to, dude.
So you got like on a Thursday night you would put on Wuthering Heights with your bloody girlfriend and you'd you know be moved to the hills and go, what a love story.
I'm just saying I'd rather watch this than Valentine's Day.
That's not a praise. Are you kidding? Okay, all the movies you could watch on Valentine's Day, this is what you put on, Wuthering Heights.
Well, I haven't seen The Notebook, and everyone fucking raves about that. Yeah. But I'd watch... No, my Valentine's Day movie... You know what my Valentine's Day movie would be. If I was going to pick a movie about a relationship over multiple years. You know what I mean? You know what I'm talking about.
Is it Peter Parker
you know
and
what
Willem
I mean.
Dafoe?
Oh, no. That's what I watch... That's what I watch when I'm feeling kinky. No. I couldn't keep a straight face when I said that. No, Willem, please come on the show. But no. When Harry Met Sally.
Oh, yeah, that's right. Oh, we should have done that over this.
We'll do it one day, my friend. We'll do it one day, and you will see it, and you will hopefully enjoy it.
I say just watch Before Sunrise, like what you and I did.
Oh yeah, that's a good pick. But I don't know if is that a Valentine's Day film?
Oh, it's a coupley film. It's about two people falling in love with each other. Like that's as Valentine's Day as it gets.
Sure, but I don't know.
Don't watch Wuthering Heights. It's just, you will, anyone who is sane will just sit through this movie and hear a string orchestra just drone on for 2 fucking hours. And like, it's, as someone who, I played the viola for a decade. I love strings. I listened to Vivaldi.
I played the cello.
You played the cello. We're both string players.
The cello is like if someone asked what's your favorite instrument, if you just had to pick something to listen to, I'd be like, dude, the cello's bomb. Like that's the shit. You know what I mean? But continue.
Exactly. For the two of us who were in a string orchestra together for years and we went to high school together, like, I love this shit. And yet, hearing this string orchestra just like playing the highest fucking note just straight for this, I can't do it. Nah, thumbs down, Brenton. No.
I might listen to that on Spotify. Maybe we can put it on after this episode after we're done.
But if you're on Spotify, also make sure to check out this podcast.
Dude, well done. I gave you the bait and you took it. Well done, guys.
There you go. What a bloody segue.
Can you please let us know though as well? Tweet at us, comment on Instagram, whatever you want to do.
Yeah.
Direct message us on Instagram as well, and we'll get back to you.
Let us know what else you're doing on Valentine's Day that's more exciting than watching this movie.
And let us know if Brenton's insane as Nathan inferred because he gave a thumbs up for Wuthering Heights.
Jesus, it's no good, Brenton. Let's spoil this. You spoiled it.
What?
The movie.
Oh.
Okay, Brenton. So let's get it because I have so many issues with the plot of this movie. Okay. Thing number one, I don't get around the framing of this story. How like it starts off in like the future, and then this old woman's like, she says the most cliche thing in the world, where she's like, "I'm an old lady, and this is the story of Wuthering Heights, and let me tell you the years that passed." It's like I roll my eyes so much. Jesus, I went around the whole planet circumference. Like, do you get around the framing? Like,
I will say that's probably for me, that's the most contrived element to it. But I will say at the same time that I was intrigued as to what the fuck was going on. Because when you go into that estate, it's weird as all shit.
It's so weird. Like,
it's so weird.
You don't know who anyone is, and like he hears a voice and like the cracked window and like
how everyone acts in this house. I was like, what the fuck is going on? At first I was like, are these people all dead? Is that the point? Or like are they actually like ghosts or something? And
I did think maybe we're in like purgatory at one, like it'd be like a Black Mirror episode, and that would be more interesting. You know what I mean? You know what would have been a more interesting movie, Brenton? So at the end, I'm gonna jump around a bit. He asks her to haunt him. Sorry, yeah. He says, "Hey, as you're dying, can you haunt me for the rest of your life so I can still be with your ghost because I love you so much?" I reckon that would have been an infinitely more interesting movie than the one we got, where like the wife is dead and like he's just with her ghost. You know what I mean? That would have been interesting. And like it's about a man moving on and he can't do it, which I feel like maybe is the premise of like Casey Affleck's A Ghost Story.
Yeah, or is it like kind of like that fucking what's the
Eternal
guy's name?
Sunshine?
No, Ghost with Patrick Swayze. You know,
like, right? There you go. We should have watched Ghost with Patrick Swayze than Wuthering Heights.
I've never seen it, but isn't that the point of that film? Is that she can't move on and she keeps seeing his ghost, and then like they have the thing when they're molding the fucking clay on the table, and it's all. Haven't you heard of this?
You're really pitching this movie to me right now, Brenton.
Dude, I love it. What I love about this episode is that we're talking about Wuthering Heights for Valentine's Day, and yet at the same time we're talking about all these other films
that are better, potentially.
I don't know if they're better. Like, who knows? Maybe we should watch Ghost next year. I don't know.
Oh, that'd be fun. Oh, it's just
Nathan. Maybe we can reenact the molding of the clay scene where they're at the clay table and it's spinning.
Do their hands like touch and they're like, ooh.
Oh, dude, they're intertwined. Like, and
Jesus.
it's all.
One of their hands gets stuck in the clay and it just forms around their hand. Like, I'm a vase now. Jeez. You know what I find interesting about these old movies as well? It's like, because they hamp up the romance, but I feel like this is right around the time that like the censorship came in. So all the kissing is horrendous.
Yeah, so it's all that closed mouth kind of pressing your faces together.
No one in real life kisses like this.
No, there's no tongue. There's no tongues involved. It's
settle down, mate. Even in real life, we don't bloody stick our tongues out like lizards, but it's just like...
Oh, I've been doing it wrong then.
Have you played that game where like you have to like pass a cube of ice between each other's mouths? Have you done this?
No, I haven't, but please elaborate.
Okay, actually, why did I bring this up? When I was in college, there was like a thing where like we all got drunk and we did this.
Please elaborate. How do you play this game?
I didn't want to talk about this. Oh, I regret this. It was like first year college. It was like a thing where we all went out to a bar and we're all drunk. And like our dormitory leader at the time was like, "Hey, I got a game for all you freshers." And they had like a little like bag of ice that was already like dripping and melting. And they said, "You got to pass this all around this like circle, like the 10 of you. And if you don't, I don't know, you bloody skull a beer or something like that." And so we had to like put this like ice in our mouth and literally like put our mouths together like we're kissing, but like open like goldfish mouth kissing. And then like using our tongues to flick the ice between each other's mouths. And that, Brenton, that action of what you're visualizing is what the kissing was in Wuthering Heights.
Nathan, just play spin the bottle, dude. Like, well, wait, like in that game, it'd be cool if like you really had like a crush on like the other person, then they had a crush on you, and then like next thing you know, the ice is melting and shit, and everyone's like, guys, the ice is melting, and it's like, we don't care.
Our hearts are melting. It's like, oh, it's like, I do remember kissing someone I liked in that moment, but ice aside, the kissing in this movie is shit.
Were you actually kissing though, or were you just passing
No,
ice?
it's like a goldfish kiss. It's like imagine two fishes with their open mouth, just like, ooh, and like you press it against and you flick a cube.
That's fucking disgusting.
It is fucking disgusting. And like, it wasn't romantic at the time, like the kissing in this movie. You just see these two fuckers just like, every time people kiss in this movie. Also, the way they kiss, they like grab them by the shoulders and like shove them like close, like they're like about to toss them to the side. You know what I mean? It's so abrasive.
That's how I kiss people. What are you talking about?
Oh, well. Oh, Brenton, this explains so much. But you know what I mean?
Isn't that how you do it? You just grab someone by the shoulders and just like launch yourselves at them like fucking Edward wants to launch himself at Bella in like Twilight when he wants to like lick her blood or whatever. Dude, I'm trying to make Valentine's Day references, and like the Twilight one just doesn't work, does it?
It really
it's just
doesn't.
not. It's not.
You know
good.
what? You know what kissing in movies should be? I feel like a good kiss in a movie is just like a nice, like maybe 3-second affair, maybe just a little peck, and then, you know, maybe a smooch, and then
I've seen some good ones that are like.
What's the best kiss you've seen in a movie?
You know what I'm gonna say, don't you? You know what
Oh, the Spider-Man kiss, obviously.
Oh yeah, that shit's good.
It probably is the best kiss in the movie.
It's one of the best ones. That one's good.
It's great as well as Spider-Man 2 when she tries to do it with like her astronaut fiance, and it's like quite
Dude.
shit.
That scene's kind of fucked up when you think about it.
It
I remember
is.
watching that as a kid, like, and going to the cinema and being like, really? Like, this is the moment that you're thinking, oh, I'm having second thoughts about this relationship. I'm engaged to this person. Let me just try this rando kiss that I did with some fucking
With, like,
crazy
Spider-Man.
spider dude. That's it. Like out in the rain, and oh, it just wasn't the same. Fuck this guy. Fuck this astronaut. Like,
Jeez.
he's an astronaut,
He's an
people.
astronaut, a successful astronaut as well, mind you. And what's even weirder about it, so in the third movie, when she's finally dating like Tobey Maguire, they don't do the Spider-Man kiss. They've been dating, and like, she finally has him, but they just kiss normally. Like you think, yeah, maybe like when they first started dating, like they tried to do it, but then he got really sick of it.
Yeah, maybe it's like, oh, maybe they need therapy, because then he goes. Remember, he goes to when he gets the key to the city,
Yeah, from Gwen Stacy, and he
does it. He macks on Bryce Dallas Howard, my favorite actress of all time. And
maybe that's why Kirsten Dunst is like so pissed, because like she wanted to do the Spider-Man kiss, but Toby kept on saying no, and then he just does it like immediately with like Bryce Dallas Howard.
Dude, I know the perfect Valentine's Day film. Spider-Man 3.
It's Spider-Man 3, obviously. Jeez.
Dude, the drama and yet wait, that film makes you feel empty by the end of it. You're like,
probably does.
Like that last scene when that's like they're in the jazz bar or whatever, and they have the slow dance, and you're like, oh fuck, things aren't like, I guess, are kind of okay, but they're still really not okay after all this shit this couple's been through in this film. And then we just end, and that's
the trilogy, and we'll never know what happened afterwards.
We just know that they're probably fucked up for life.
Yeah.
And they're the only two that can probably understand, that can confide in each other what's going on. So I guess that's romantic in a way. But maybe Harry's actually haunting them for the rest of their lives. Like,
oh,
Lawrence,
maybe. Jesus, as he
asks.
dies, he says to like Tobey Maguire, like, I want you to haunt me.
No, Toby's like crying. He's got like the bullfrog like crying face.
Oh my
like,
God.
He's like, Harry. And it's like, Pete, what's up? And it's like, I want you to haunt me for the rest of my days. And he's like, fuck you, man.
He's like, I just took a
He
goblin
dies.
glider for you. He just like passes out. He's like, I'm gonna go to hell.
Dude, here we go. It's like the inception of haunting. So Harry haunts Peter, right?
But he's haunted by Willem, isn't he?
And then Harry's still being... the ghost of Harry is still being haunted by Willem Dafoe.
Oh my God. Could you imagine in Wuthering Heights, like the chick is dying and she suddenly screams, avenge me!
And then if we really wanted to add more layers, like Willem is still being haunted, and we don't know this but this is kind of the reason he went crazy, is because he's still being haunted by that one, his little laboratory assistant from the first one that he killed.
God, that's right.
Back to formula.
Oh. But Wuthering Heights, Brenton.
So Nathan, like I said, my biggest criticism of, I guess, the plot of this film is that we introduced this great character that's the sister. And I really like this actress. I like this character. You're really interested to see where this goes. And you can see that Lawrence, like, you know, she's right in the sense of what she says about him. That she's like, hey, I think he's just using you to, like, get to me. And it's like, you piece of shit.
Which he
like,
is.
You know, yeah, which he is. Which he clearly is. And so you're like, where the fuck is this going to end up?
He's a bad bloke for doing that as well. It's like, come on, mate.
He's a piece of shit. But, like, where we end up just isn't that interesting. It's like I wanted to have some real conflict between the two of them, and yet she's kind of just moping around.
Like a quite literal fight. You wanted swords to come out and they just like go at it.
Yeah, man. I wanted her to fucking like go off at him, like, and she kind of does, but it's all still like just let me just be okay, like just forget about your love for the other woman and just let me love you. And it's like, oh fuck, she's still like, I get that she still loves him. I think that works, but it's like I just would have liked to have seen more drama between the two of them, and then he just leaves, and we never get the resolution with that character. You know what I mean? Like,
no, because there is some
shame.
moments of like, I love it when they have like a piano singer in like the lounge or whatever.
Dude, the harpsichord scene's my favorite scene in the film.
It's so good because the three of them are just giving each other like the most dramatic looks, and there's actual tension there. That's like, I love that scene.
It's excellent. It gives me major Revenge of the Sith vibes of like,
yeah.
Dude, like the scene when they look out across each other, it's like the best scene in like the prequel trilogy when Natalie Portman and Hayden are like looking at each other from the temple to her apartment,
and they know what's
and
coming. It's like,
yeah, dude, like that scene. I was like, oh fuck, George Lucas must have watched Wuthering
he would have
Heights.
loved Wuthering Heights, evidently. Like,
he took a few notes.
I want Wuthering Heights in my Star Wars movie. Like that's what
I want a mixture of like Wuthering Heights and like that scene from American Graffiti that everyone liked.
I'm George Lucas.
I'm George Lucas.
But it's so undercut with like the dialogue that she says to him when like, especially when she's like dying. Oh yeah, when they get mauled by dogs just for like spying on a party.
Man.
Jesus, that shit's violent. Like, where did that come from? These dogs are going at it. And also, all the party guests come out and they don't immediately stop the dogs. They kind of watch for a little bit before they call them off.
They were like, oh. Entertainment. Yes, they did trespass, so they should rip their heads off, I guess. Let's just watch. But it's interesting, isn't it?
But the worst thing about that scene is that like they're all on this lovey-dovey date. They're all smitten with each other. They're spying like a rich person's house. Then she gets dragged into the house. She's like, you know, she goes into the house and she's like, whoa, this place is pretty nice, eh? And like she's trying to heal on the couch and she's rescued by that other bloke. And she turns at a dime the second she meets the other guy. And she's like, fuck Laurence Olivier, I'm going for this bloke because he is rich. She just stays there.
But to be fair, like again, I will say this to be fair, because I think the choice is justified. I think this kind of this hot and cold, this on and off again thing, and her conundrum is justified in terms of the period. And the setting and what she has to go
Brenton.
through.
It's ruined because Laurence Olivier becomes rich. And the worst thing is that we don't know how or why. He just vanishes.
I love that we don't know how he becomes rich. He just vanishes and he comes back and he makes the snide remark. I can't remember the joke.
I remember it because I wrote it down. He said his father was an emperor of China and his mother was a queen of India. And I'm like, what the fuck are you on about? And you know what? I looked up the book and I'm like, okay, how did he actually get rich? Because it's such a fucking plot hole. And it is never explained in the book either. She just suddenly makes him rich for no reason.
I don't necessarily think it's a plot hole, and it gets me thinking, because when he comes back with a fucking vengeance, it gets me going, how the fuck did this guy... Like, that could be a story in itself of how this guy earned his keep to become... to raise himself into the upper class. Like,
but that's the thing. That's more interesting. That's more interesting of how he got up there than the fact that he's up there. Because also, it's now three rich people just all fighting with each other. It was more interesting when there was a classism element to it.
But there still is. There still is.
Oh, she's like, you always came from filth, and he's like, one, that's racist, and two, I'm not now.
Yeah, but that's there's still that element there. And how like the whole town and like how he acts as well. It's kind of like it's that idea, I think, of you know, when you become kind of what people think you are. You know what I mean? Like,
you live long enough to become the villain, that kind of thing.
Yeah, it's kind of that idea of like, if you're treated like shit for long enough, pretty soon you start becoming vengeful and shitty if you don't keep yourself in check. And he becomes this vengeful, angry, bitter person that
he's just
like
an
doesn't
arsehole.
really.
Like, they're all assholes. I don't like any of them, Brenton.
I love
None
that
of
the
them.
house is like his estate, like he doesn't really upkeep it. Like you look inside and it's still the same shit, and like
it's not a nice
kind
house,
of
is it?
a bit. No, it's kind of turning a bit.
The actual
decrepit,
Wuthering Heights itself, I'm like, I wouldn't live here like this.
But he's just there because, like, simply for the reason is that he's just waiting for her to die, basically.
Jesus. Which is
it's really-
ridiculous of a plan, by the way. It's like, one, so apparently there's like ghosts in this universe, and two, it's like you're so spiteful because you have so many opportunities to turn her around, by the way, but you're so spiteful that this is how you're going to get her back. It's like, because she asks her on so many occasions, do you love me? Do you want to be with me? And he's like, nah, fuck you. It's like, especially when she asks her husband to kill him to stop the marriage, you know, I'm like, that was like, why? When she's like, you got to kill Laurence Olivier, you got to put an end to this. Like, I thought the movie was going to get good and we're going to like leap into this action sequence, but it just leads to a mopey death. You know what I mean?
I wasn't as like, at first I was like, oh fuck, she's asking him to kill him, but I don't think that was kind of the point of the scene. Like, I get that, like, maybe that would have been interesting. Would have had some serious.
Yeah, it turns into Mr. and Mrs. Smith.
Turns into three sisters. You know what I mean? Like, get some Chekhov in there. But no, I think it was interesting in itself to have that moment about that she dies and she's finally able to just be like, the shackles are off, and she's able to just be honest with him and tell him how she feels, because I think she does love him the whole film. Like, obviously, I think there is a connection there.
That's so weird, because like after the whole movie, by the end of it, when she's actually dying on the deathbed, like they like reconcile and all that kind of stuff, and it's the most mopey death scene you could ever imagine. I found it more bizarre that the husband wasn't there when she's dying. Like, where was he?
Where does he go again? He gets sent to do something. Like, she says go get.
Yeah, she says get him, but he's not there, and then she just dies, and Lawrence is there.
No, but she says to him, go get, I think it's like flowers or something.
Oh.
Or, I can't remember. She sends him on an errand.
Oh.
And he goes. Like, she does send the husband away. And that's when Laurence Olivier arrives, once he goes.
Oh.
What a scene, though, when, like, he picks her up off her deathbed and drags her across the room so they can look out at the moors one last time at the castle.
Yeah, I know. Like, that's sweet. See, all this shit sounds sweet on paper. You know what I mean? And I should have said this in the non-spoilers too. I bet the book is excellent. I bet the book is so good. Like, it's probably brilliant.
Do you want to read the book though? Because like I don't really have the.
I'd probably love it for the language, if anything. Maybe not for the story, but just for the actual prose. I think it'd be quite lovely. But if I ever wanted to like read poetry to a girl, I'd bloody read some Wuthering Heights.
Hey babe, I'm gonna read you a chapter from Wuthering Heights.
Sit down. Girls love poetry, Peter. So I'd bloody do it.
Hey, speaking of that castle in the moors though, like I really liked that set, and I liked the first scene at the moors, like when she tells him like, imagine that's a castle. Like, that's a great fucking scene.
I do like that scene. Yeah, it was
and
promising.
He kills the knight, and then he gets up, and then they stand together and they look out at their kingdom, I guess. And it's
a little bit Bridge of Terabithia, isn't it?
like just saying that now just kind of fills me with like a bit of sadness of like, yeah, like and then it never is, you know, like. And so I think if you watch this again, not that I know you won't watch this movie.
I will never watch this again.
But it's kind of like I'd like to watch it again because I think it'd be even more powerful now knowing where things go. Because you kind of have like there's always this undercurrent to this film which I like of like, you know, things don't turn out well. You know that she's dead, right? And that she's out in the fucking blizzard. And at first you thought like maybe my brain was going through the whole film because she runs out in the storm after him in the thunderstorm. Initially when he leaves, when he goes and she goes, no, I do love him, and
also,
she runs out.
Side note, does England get blizzards? I'm not aware of this. Like,
I'm not sure.
Yeah,
I've never been to the UK. Yeah, you tell us, listeners. If one of our UK listeners, please.
Would you run out into a British blizzard for your lover?
But I thought what was going to happen was that there was going to be circumstance happening and she was going to be caught in a blizzard outside, and then it was going to be poetry, and then he was going to die in the blizzard at the end as well.
It's all poetry, just like the director's like smoking a joint off the camera. He's like, it's all poetry.
Look, as Alfred Molina tells us in Spider-Man 2, the way to a woman's heart is Wuthering Heights. Anyway.
Yeah, geez, great. What did you think of that final shot where it's like the ghosts of them like in the snow and that kind of stuff?
Okay, so here's the thing. I'm sure for the time it would have been a technical marvel to see like a fucking like kind of crossfade kind of effect of like.
Are you getting Spellbound vibes?
Oh god, yeah, I did in that moment. But what I would have rathered is instead of having some weird fucking fading bullshit of like trying to have the effect of ghosts, like just have a shot of two actors walking up the fucking moors.
Yeah.
Like, you know what I mean? It doesn't need to be smart.
They can be solid
like,
ghosts. Like, you get that they're ghosts.
We fill in the gaps. Like, it's fine.
Yeah.
But
even just put a white sheet over them with just like the eye holes of like. Now that would have been an iconic final shot.
No, but like I just think like obviously now we in retrospect we can be like, oh, that's a shitty effect. Like we don't like I would have rather just have that image. But for the time I can imagine like the people going to the cinema would have been like, holy shit! Holy fuck!
These special effects. Whoa.
What the fuck? That's a ghost right there.
Oh
Holy
dear.
shit.
I'm haunted. But then 2020, geez, it's just not it's no. Oh, Brenton. Oh, should we get...
Oh, Nathan, something we didn't talk about that I just want to add in, because I was happy to move on then as well, but I just remembered.
Yes.
How is the character of the brother?
Oh, for fuck's sake. Like... Oh.
Nathan, to be honest, I thought he had such promise.
Yeah.
When it started and he was introduced and he was presented as this classic, like, shitty kid, I was like, where's this going to go when they're adults? And I thought this is going to be the whole plot.
He really is the Dudley of the family, isn't he?
No, he is. He's so Dudley. But, like, I thought it was going to be this vengeful kind of, like, shitty relationship between the two, like, between Lawrence and the brother. And then that's kind of resolved to a point, at a point in the film. And I like that he becomes kind of like this hermit character that like has to like live on his own estate, but he doesn't own it and he lost everything and he's just like this drunk, awful, like just got nothing, just like gambled all of his funds away. And like what's interesting as well, I think, is that the film presents his father as such like a decent person and someone that has his affairs in order, you know, and seems to be a good person. And yet, how did he raise such a fucking monster? You know
I know,
what I mean? Like,
jeez, it's like...
And I guess you could allude to it in the fact that he's not home, like at the start, like he's away for God knows how long. And he dies obviously early on as well. The father dies, and then the son's like, I am head of this estate and you cannot go see my father on his deathbed because you are not my houseboy. He doesn't talk like that. He doesn't talk like Tim Curry from It. No, he doesn't talk like that.
I wish he did, but no.
Hey, Georgie. Hiya, Georgie.
Well, speaking of Tim Curry, should we talk about if this movie is worth the remake?
Special segment.
Ooh, so special. So this is where we bring back some segments we've done in previous episodes, and I want to ask you, Brenton, a very key question. Is this movie worth the remake? Should they remake Wuthering Heights 2020?
I'd be intrigued to see a remake of this.
How would they do it? Because I imagine it would be set in the current day, so it's like
Does it have to be? Can it be a period piece?
You could leave it as a period piece. I guess there's so much about the time that influences this couple, so maybe it is kind of intrinsic to the story, but...
I think it should be a period piece, but in my mind, I think it'd be really interesting to have this done as like an ode to the time. Like something that's like that's similar to like, say, The Artist, or like even La La Land to a certain extent, of something that's like kind of modern, but it's an ode to like...
This would work as a musical.
Would it?
I feel like the melodrama and like, you know, this screams to be a musical. You know, she's standing on the cliff and singing about their lost love and all that kind of shit. Like, you know, when the dogs attack, that's a whole dance sequence. It would work.
Should I give my good mate Andrew Lloyd Webber a call?
Oh, please
say,
do.
Look, I know you're working on the sequel to Cats, but...
It's called More Cats.
Oh my gosh, literally called More Cats, as in like the moors.
Oh
the
my
cats
gosh.
on the moors.
And they're about to like go to cat heaven, but this time in the fucking swamp. Like, ugh.
No, they go to cat heaven, but then they realize they're just haunting Sir Laurence Olivier.
Oh my, yeah, he's waiting for the ghost of his wife to rock up, and instead it's like the cast of Cats. Like,
fuck off, Mr. Mistopheles.
You aren't my dead wife.
But Nathan, I have a question for you. What stills this movie?
Ooh, it's blinding.
So for our listeners that aren't aware, What Stills This Movie is the segment on the show where Nathan and myself pick a frame, a still from this from the film that we're reviewing, and it can be something that's poignant, it can be something that's beautiful, or it can be something that's just there for a laugh. Anyway,
it's the latter this week, isn't it, Brenton?
We do. We put these images up on our Instagram. They're on the YouTube thumbnail, so you can see them there as well.
Yeah.
And so yeah, have a look at what Nathan chose this week. And what's funny is, I said this to you before we started recording actually, is that as I was watching this film, I knew instantly when I saw the start of this scene that this was the frame you were going to pick.
Oh, I'm glad we're at this level now that we can choose what we know for the stills. Because there's a scene in this movie where like the main chick is like getting a bath in like her own bedroom. And like, is she like her maid is like pouring water into this bathtub like the size of like a kiddie pool, but the jug she's using is like half the span of her body. And the girl in the bathtub just looks so unimpressed with all of it.
Dude, what's funny as well is that I think it's the whole span of her body, but it's her actual like physicality of holding it as she's pouring it in. Like, what is that stance? It's so like weirdly casual.
Yeah, she looks like, because it looks like a lot, like liters of water that she's pouring into this bathtub.
And yet she's just like, it's just an odd kind of stance that she's got. And then it's finished off by like her in the bathtub and like her expression, but also like the size of the bathtub and like that must be one small woman.
How is she fitting into that whole bathtub? And also, the water's hitting, like you can see the water's full in the bathtub, like the water as it hits the level. So is she trying to overflow it?
I just realized that as well. It's literally about to like fucking overflow. Maybe that's why she looks so unimpressed.
Yeah.
But she must be a tiny woman. Look how small that bath is.
Jeez. That bath also looks so uncomfortable. Like,
but she's fitting in it, and it's like she's like down to her neck in water. Like she must be tiny. She
just be like so tiny. It's just it just looks like a terrible experience. I would not want a bath back in the day. But they obviously didn't have showers, so this would have been the way that they groomed. It's like,
yeah, man.
Jeez. Also, it's kind of awkward that you have to have your maid just like pour water as you take a fucking bath. You know what I mean? It's like you're just sitting there naked.
Wait, you don't do that?
Oh, well, you know, you do, Brenton, but we don't really talk about it. Like, I don't know what you use that SWAT team for.
It's either my maid or my butler or my SWAT team, yeah.
Watch out. Oh, Brenton. Well,
on that note...
Hey,
what?
Let's look at this film's poster. Brenton.
Yes?
Let's look at this film's poster.
But is it art?
You know what? We've had a couple of dud posters over the past number of weeks, Brenton. This poster is insane and also extremely misleading. Like,
Nathan, if I didn't know any better, and I didn't know any better coming into this film, if I'd seen this poster before I watched this movie, I literally would have thought I was going to be watching Frankenstein's monster, Dracula, you know what? A horror film.
On this poster, Laurence Olivier's face stills this movie. If that was actually in the film, we would have screenshotted this. Because the poster is like the girl and like, you know, looking into the distance, very lovey-dovey and that kind of stuff. But behind, like, well-lit and all that. But behind her is Laurence Olivier, like, in the most, like, green, like, hulkish kind of paint. Like, giving her this, like, hard-ass state. Like, with the same expression that Michael Jackson in Thriller gives, like, the girl.
Yeah.
Like,
that's exactly what it looks like. It looks like Michael Jackson in Thriller.
Yeah. And it's so creepy. And it looks like he's the zombie, which is weird considering the plot of this movie. But also, the tagline for this says, I am torn with desire, tortured by hate. So, like, this kind of sounds like a zombie movie.
I don't know what else to say about it.
This poster promises a better movie, because I don't have... Like, it's a good poster, but just not for Wuthering Heights.
Agreed.
You know what I mean?
Totally agreed. So what would have worked for you?
I reckon bring him back off onto the cliff. Like, I want him back on the cliff. But it's just like him holding up her like Simba in The Lion King. Or even
Jesus.
Or even just like, you know, or even like them being attacked by dogs. Yeah, that's what it should be it. Them running away and there's like a line of dogs behind them as they're heading towards the hedge fence.
What about the party scene where he rocks up and he's rich again?
He's just holding money bags with dollar signs on them. Like
No, but that scene in like when they're out, like I think it's on a balcony or when they go outside together, and maybe they're both like on either, like there's a bit of distance between them, and they both look a bit unsure of like this situation that they find themselves in, and it's a shot basically of that, and then like through the doorway you can see this lively kind of party going on behind them, and it's like Wuthering Heights.
Yeah.
Or you have the blizzard, and you have neither of the characters. No, okay, here we go. So you have the blizzard. And you see in the distance Wuthering Heights, the estate with the lights on, and it looks creepy as fuck. And then standing out in the blizzard, you have her just standing there.
Oh yeah, in the same way you have that shot in Goblet of Fire of like Mad Eye Moody looking down at Hogwarts in the rain.
That's exactly it.
Like literally that, but just replace Hogwarts with the house and Mad Eye with the chick, or even leave Mad Eye in the poster. That'd be an improvement.
Yeah.
Now for my main gripe with this movie. Title talk.
Ooh, it's the title.
Wuthering Heights. Okay, was Wuthering Heights in Wuthering Heights, Brenton?
Well, technically it was.
It was in the movie. But like, I have more issue with the spelling of withering because it's withering. It's I. In English we use I, but for some reason back then they decided to use a U. And every time I type the name of this movie, it bothers me.
It's Wuthering.
Wuthering Heights. Yeah, it's so designed for that like Shakespearean prose, isn't it?
For sure.
Also, the house isn't that much featured in the movie. Like, yes, they all meet at the house, but it's such a generic name, you know, for a movie.
What would you call it then?
I'd call it
The Gypsy and His Lass.
Jesus, I wouldn't call it that.
That was a I mean, well, at the time, what were they going to call it?
I don't know. I think they probably would have called it that at the time.
That's what I mean.
Knowing 1939's racism. I don't know. Maybe like Murder Your Lover or something like that, or I don't know, something more romantic. Like I don't know.
Murder Your Lover. Oh no. I don't know. But it's better than The Gypsy and His Lass.
Tweet at us, listeners. Let us know your better title, because geez, this film begs for one. It's like Wuthering Heights. It's like, I don't know.
What about, okay, hear me out. Hear me fucking out. Okay? Because I know this is the title of another film we've reviewed. But
Okay.
what about The Castle?
No, we're not calling it The Castle, Brenton.
What about the castle? That's
It's
the
not a
whole
castle.
fucking point
It's
of the film. Like they talk about the castle and like how they and that's kind of a symbol of like the optimism of their relationship. But in reality, there is no castle. There's just Wuthering Heights. So they
Okay.
call it the castle.
Fine, I guess we can call it Castle if you want. You just want it so there's a better film called Castle. Actually, what's better, The Castle or this?
This.
Oh, fuck off. It's The Castle. Everyone watch The Castle. It's a great film. Well, let's pass that power, Brenton.
Pass it here.
What?
The power to the people.
So Nathan,
Yes.
on the tomato meter, tomato, I always change how I say that.
You really do. Someone make a supercut.
It's really weird because, and I tell you why, because like the Americans, like the tomato meter is American, you know what I mean? It's an American, it's a Western creation, so I always go to say tomato. Whereas like if I was to eat a tomato, I would say tomato. But I'm going to call it the tomato meter. That's what I'm going to stick with, okay?
All right, you do it.
That's my decision. And on the tomato meter, it has a critical consensus of 95% on the tomato meter. Holy shit, Nathan, that's high. That's high for a film you gave a thumbs down to.
Oh, fuck off.
And the audience score is sitting at 85%. That's
Everyone's
also quite
wrong.
high. Nathan, I think you might have got this wrong. Anyway.
No, it's
Anyway.
not good. Well, Ken Hank, he bloody loves it from Mountain Express, and he gave it a 3 out of 5. He wrote, "It's okay, but it's the kind of classic that puts people off classics."
That's a funny line. Good on you, Ken.
Which is true, because like it is such a classic film in every sense of the word. Like, just with the orchestra and the bloody titles, it's like, oh yeah, the funny opening titles where it's like, the year is this and it hasn't been the same. Like, ugh.
I just also want to shout out to Ken Hank for having such a interesting name.
Yeah.
Ken Hank. It kind of sounds like the sound like a duck makes, like Ken Hank.
Not like Dustin D, who gave it.
We're moving on to Dustin D with 4 stars. 4 stars, Nathan. That's high again. Before Twilight came along, this was Hollywood's most ideal depiction of the perfect romance. Okay. I have gripes with this. I have gripes with this statement because
Yes.
is Twilight and Wuthering Heights really trying to depict the perfect romance? I think
No.
there is.
Definitely not. Jeez, no.
I think there's a luring kind of thing for people to get alluded to the fact of like a dark kind of relationship, and that's intriguing. But it's not the perfect romance. What would you
No.
say is if we're talking about the perfect depiction of a romance, it would probably, in Hollywood, it's probably like something When Harry Met Sally. It's probably like along the lines of those, or
Yeah.
like, you know what I mean? Whereas this is just dark, and
No.
Twilight is kind of dark. Like,
No, I
fucking
wouldn't look
hell.
for relationship advice from both these movies. I feel like there's infinitely better options there. But Louis Vandeleurs on YouTube wrote, "Mum liked this movie so much, but she is not with me anymore."
Fuck.
Oh dear.
I don't even know. Louis, mate,
Oh.
are you saying, is she, like, I'm very sorry if she's passed on and thoughts go to you and whatnot, but are you saying maybe she's just like moved house? I don't know.
Or maybe we don't know. We don't know at all.
Maybe he's moved out. I don't know the situation. That's
But I
just
do
a very-
like that idea that like when you're young, you watch these old films with family or friends and that stuff, and you are attached to it in a way. And it's like, imagine being a kid being raised up and you're indoctrinated with this, so that when you finally meet a girl, this is how you treat them. Imagine you're in high school and you start quoting shit from Wuthering Heights. Like, could you imagine?
You wouldn't have many friends. Jet Rink says Heathcliff exits from the door 4 times and never bothers to close it. Love it.
There's a lot of dramatic exits in this movie, isn't there, Brenton?
Mate, I have to tell you something as well. Like, in my life personally, if I ever leave a door open, it gives, like, my family members the shits.
Really?
Like,
what do you mean?
if you're to, like, leave... Like if you leave like the front door open, right? And you're like going out the front or whatever, and you leave the front door open, everyone's like, why the fuck didn't you just close the door? So if Heathcliff was in my household, he would be fucking like destroyed, is the point.
Oh, jeez. He probably would be. I mean, it doesn't piss me off that much, but like, I get more peeved when like you got the aircon on or something like that, and like, you know, people leave the door open. It's like, we're containing the air. What are you doing?
Nathan, what are we doing?
What are we doing?
I'll tell you what we're doing. We just did Wuthering Heights, guys.
We did Wuthering Heights.
We just reviewed that film. And that was a good time. I had a good time chatting about that with you, Nathan.
I did too. But Brenton, we're not free of this movie yet. We got to start looking back, buddy, and let's talk about our 80s.
We're nearly dead.
We're so close to death.
I know.
Wuthering Heights, what have you done to us?
We could make it to 100. I hope we make it to 100.
Same. Oh, all right. Well, episode 80, we did our top 7 movie traumas, so we don't really need to look back on that, except we're still shaking in our boots.
We don't need to look back on that because those images still haunt us every night in our dreams.
Oh,
so on to 81, Nathan.
81. We talked about Star Wars, which feels like a fucking century ago. Here we go.
Because it was.
We talked about A New Hope and The Empire Strikes Back. Brenton, for A New Hope, you said yes, I said no. We standing by that?
A New Hope?
Yep.
What's that movie? Don't you mean the original Star Wars?
Fine. For fuck's sake, you're still doing it. Fine, we talked about Star Wars, 1977 Star Wars. You said yes, I said no. You know what? I stand by my no.
What the fuck's wrong with you?
I know.
I'm really sorry, but that has an argument for being the best Star Wars film.
Yeah, you could argue that, but like
you could argue that's the best Star Wars film. I don't necessarily think so, but I think it's up there. So I stick with my yes. I think it's a great film that's like can stand on its own merits and still holds up today. What a great time. What a fun adventure.
Yeah, I just don't think you need it. If you want to hear a longer opinion, listen to the episode. And then we did Empire Strikes Back and we both said yes, which I stand by.
I stand by as well.
There we go. 82. We talked about Phantom Menace and Return of the Jedi. For Return of the Jedi, we both said yes. It's still good.
I stand by that.
It feels a little bit weird now that I said yes to Return of the Jedi, but not A New Hope.
Yeah. I don't know. Yeah. Do you regret
But I still think New Jedi is more... New Jedi. I think Return of the Jedi is still more intelligent than A New Hope.
Jedi. Yeah, look, there's moments in Jedi that I think are the best in the saga. So, of course that makes sense. And also, Luke has a green lightsaber. Holy shit.
Yeah, wow, that monumentous event. Oh, jeez. And we both said no to Phantom Menace, Brenton. Are you sticking with that no?
No. I said yes to Phantom Menace.
Oh, did you? No.
Yeah, I said yes to Phantom Menace. I did.
Oh, I wonder why I wrote down that it was a no.
If you look at the document, dude, like that because I listened to the episode this afternoon.
Oh my god.
I said yes
you
to
said
Phantom
yes
Menace.
You idiot. Why? Why did you say yes to the Phantom Menace? Okay, now I remember this because I remember being angry at you then as I am now. No, Brenton. No.
I stand by my yes. That
You
film,
recommended all 4 Star Wars movies.
Yeah, fuck yeah. You gotta watch them all.
Listeners,
You
this
gotta
is a
do it.
schism.
Mate, kids will obviously fall asleep in the politics bits, but just, there's still fun to be had.
Oh, Brenton and his idea of fun. I tell you what, listeners. Oh.
Mate, I remember watching that as a kid, and I had my Jar Jar Binks blow-up chair, and I'd sit in that thing and have
all
a
I hear
great
is
old time.
nostalgia just pouring out of Brenton.
I fully admit that. And
yeah,
it's a fun
doesn't
time.
help.
It's a fun time, and I'm going to stick my thumbs up.
83, Home Alone 1 and 2. For the first one, we both said yes, and for the second one, we both said no. Any of that you want to change?
The first one, I'd considered putting no for a bit.
You did. But Brenton,
I did.
They learned the true meaning of Christmas.
Look, it's classic.
Movie banter.
But to be honest, I just don't care.
It's true. When I think more about
fine.
the McAllisters, I actually care more about the criminals, thinking, I wonder how damaged they still are. Like, poor Joe Pesci.
Poor Joe Pesci.
But again, I would watch Home Alone again. I'd still find it like a fun movie.
I don't know if I would, but I'll keep my thumbs up. Because there's still moments in that. There's great segments in that. Again, I'll stick my thumbs up.
Oh, there we go. Well done.
Because, I said yes to the Phantom Menace, so I guess I got to say yes to every single
Don't
other
base all this
fucking
because
movie
you
now.
erroneously said yes to Phantom Menace, Brenton, because that will take you in a weird direction.
I kid.
84, we both like Goldfinger.
In 83, we spoke about Home Alone 1 and 2.
Oh, pardon me, Brenton. I'm jumping the gun. Very correct.
That's quite all right.
Home Alone 2 is not a good film, Brenton.
No, it's not. It's terrible.
Oh god.
My thumbs are down and they're staying down.
Nah, yeah,
They're
unchanged.
down. I am jamming them into the tabletop at the moment, and they're on the verge of breaking because they're so far down. So let's get to 84.
Back to Bond, where we reviewed Goldfinger, Brenton, one of the most critically acclaimed Bond films, and we loved it. Our thumbs were up, Brenton. You loved this James Bond movie.
Hang on a second. I didn't love it. Don't put
No,
words in
Brenton,
my mouth.
you loved it.
Don't put words in my mouth.
Listeners.
I said, and I think I'm going to quote this. I said something along the lines of, I am going to put my thumbs up because this has moments in it what I think the Bond franchise should be and what I want it to be and what I expect it to be. But at the same time, it's still dull and boring and everything else. So I put my thumbs up for that and being like, this is the closest it's come. But now I'm considering just putting them down because like I don't remember this at all. You know what I mean? Like there's nothing.
But Brenton, there was the poker game where he was cheating.
I remember that. I remember them all falling asleep.
Yeah,
I remember them all
asleep.
falling asleep.
It's great.
Fuck. Is it?
It's so much
It's
fun.
not that great. Look, I'm going to
It has
stand by
Odd
my
Job,
thumbs
Brenton. It has Odd Job with his little hat that he throws
up. Yeah, no,
about.
you won me over. Thumbs are up.
Oh, I
Thumbs
knew
up,
it. All I had
thumbs
to do
stay
was
up.
play the Odd Job card and he was in. 85 was our 2019 in review, so we can glaze over that. 86, Dr. Dolittle. We both are like, nah.
No.
Nah.
Yeah, no.
Not a
There's
good
nothing more
time.
to say. No.
Oh.
Sorry, Eddie. Love you, mate.
Yeah, and sorry RDJ for also being roped into that project.
Hey, I'm not sorry. Fucking hell.
Oh, jeez. God.
They should apologize to me.
They really should. 87, this is Spinal Tap.
Yeah, my thumbs were down for this and they're staying down. I literally haven't
come
thought about this
on.
once. I haven't thought about this once since we watched it.
I mean, neither.
Like, hey, exactly.
I know, but you don't recommend the movie because you're just consistently thinking about it.
Do you want to watch the film again? Oh, pause. He pauses.
I know, the pause gives it away, doesn't it? Look, don't do this to me, Brenton. How dare you make me question my own opinions? Look,
Hey, you were questioning mine. I said my
I know,
thumbs are
it's-
staying down. I was gonna leave it at that, and you
it's
went
deeply hypocritical.
Oh,
There's the Nathan
Phantom
soundbite of the
Menace,
podcast.
Oh, green lightsaber. Oh,
Oh, fuck off. Look, yeah, okay.
I've lost it. Let's keep going.
Okay, this is Spinal Tap. Yes, it's good. I think it holds up. I think it's really funny. But would I watch it in 2020? You know what? Actually, I might say no, Brenton.
Oh, Nathan, I'm so sorry if I changed your
No,
opinion. Buddy. You're
No, 'cause
welcome to stick with your opinion.
Because I think I liked it at the time, but the more I think about it, I'm like, oh, would I really like if I sat my friends down to watch this? Would I be like, oh yeah, they're gonna thank me for this? You know what I mean?
That's a good point. Maybe I'll change my Goldfinger review now.
But that's our friends. We think about all the listeners when we encompass this, such as for The Emperor's New Groove, 88.
Yeah, man, thumbs are up for this one from
Thumbs are
both
staying
ends of the
up.
table.
Oh,
Mate, there's no discussion that needs to be had here.
No.
The spinach puffs are done.
they're done,
And
Brenton.
I'm
They're ready to
and I'm
be
ready,
eaten.
and I'm ready to eat them. Okay,
Let's
so-
go. Then let's get this out of the way. 89, Priscilla, Brenton. We loved it.
It's fantastic.
Tour
It's really
de force.
good. I wasn't expecting to love it. And
Same.
you know what?
And you know what? I actually think about it as well. I think about how,
Yeah.
like, especially as an Australian film as well, I'm like, oh, this makes me so happy to be an Aussie. You know what I mean? Like,
Terrence Stamp, Hugo Weaving, and Guy Pearce are all just fantastic. It's great. It's a good
amazing. Watch Priscilla. Like, especially if you want to get friends into drag culture and they haven't really watched any of that before or like, they're curious about it.
Like, even so, I don't know if that's the reason to bring people into this. I just think it's a great film to just bring people into, to not only have a good time, but to, watch characters, become a family, learn lessons of love and acceptance.
That very
and
rare
it's-
thing
it's
for a
just-
film to do, watch characters become a family.
Ah,
That's so only
never
very
happens.
few films offer.
never happens.
Never happens at all.
We never found out who Jar Jar's father was, I'm just very sad.
Oh no. It was Papa.
Papa Binks.
Papa Binks. I'm so sorry, listeners. I'll
We've
score
lost
myself
it, guys.
out.
That was a terrible joke, and I tried to save you. So
No, not worth
that's
saying.
It's okay.
Oh,
It's
let's
okay,
let's
Nathan.
leave our 80s long behind us then, Brenton. Hopefully the 90s offer better fruits.
I hope there's grapes in the 90s. You know what I mean?
Ooh, grapes.
What's your favorite fruit?
Oh, mango, easy.
Oh, that's a good choice. I'd say. Oh fuck. Why'd I ask this? I'd say mangoes are up there. But I think like yellow peaches are really good when they're in season.
Got to be in the
Oh,
mood
damn,
for it,
they're
you
good.
know. I could always do a mango. Yellow peach, got to be in mood.
I could always do a yellow peach. See, mango, I need mango. I know mangoes.
Oh,
I know
well.
are messy. You know
We're
what
on
I
the
mean?
opposite
Like,
ends of
so-
the buffet table, aren't we?
So peach is easy because it's still messy, but like it's you can fit it in one hand. A mango, you gotta slice that shit up, and it's gonna get everywhere. It's gonna get juicy.
I mean,
it's gonna get
practicality
messy.
wise, you're not wrong.
It's gonna be grand. But a yellow peach, I can get.
I think it's just because Brenton uses the peach emoji too much.
Well, it's relevant.
Oh well.
Oh, what the hell's going on, Nathan?
Brenton, we're out of it. We're into our 90s and we're looking ahead. How are you feeling?
Nathan, I'm feeling pretty good, but you know what would make me feel even better?
What, Brenton?
If our lovely listeners would subscribe to us on the podcast app and give us a lovely review.
Oh,
that would just make
that would-
my
oh,
day.
It'd warm the heart this Valentine's Day. It'd beat any box of roses, I tell you what. Oh,
Mate.
just to hear from our old listeners. Oh, they're just sending loves and kisses through the interwebs.
And we do love hearing from you guys. So
It's great.
please tell us
It's so
on
good.
Twitter, on
Hit us- yeah.
Instagram, on YouTube,
Have
in
some
the comments.
chats.
Maybe I email if you really want to, if you want to send us a letter. But let us know what you thought of Wuthering Heights and other films and suggestions of episodes we should do. We always welcome those.
Yeah.
And yeah, apart from that, guys, have a wonderful week with the love of your lives.
Yeah.
And if you haven't found the love of your life, just do what Heathcliff did and spontaneously become like a rich motherfucker and come back and ask your crush to haunt you when they die eventually. I mean, what could go wrong?
Literally everything.